Hey everybody, today we'll be making a header using Adobe Spark. So initially when you go to spark.adobe.com, you'll have to log in. Got a couple of options. We'll be logging in here on the right hand side with the teacher account. So all you need to do is choose your account, but remember to choose Enterprise ID here. And this will open in your dashboard. Now for today, we want to make a new header. So we'll use a custom size. And for our purposes today, 1,000 pixels by approximately 250 isn't bad. That's a pretty good size. Okay, and you'll notice again it wants to open with templates, but because we're doing our own thing today, these kind of change some of your sizes, and we chose to be at 1,000 by 250. So for this one, what we'll look at today is adding a photo that we've already got. And so we'll take a look at this picture of Orion Junior High School here that we can throw in. And it's supposed to be 1024 by about 400 something. But as you can see, when it imports, it's not the size we want. So because Spark is a program that sort of forces you to use the original scale here, we're not able to stretch this image to make it wider. So we'll just kind of make do with what we have. And I've picked Orion Junior High because it's sort of a local school here. My students from my class go there. And so I can stretch and size that to be whatever I want. I don't particularly like having the marquee right there. It's okay, but just sort of there. And so now I've got my background graphic ready to go, and I feel like it looks pretty good. The next thing we want to do is add some text. And so we'll start off with some text and then work our way around. We could choose any of these pre-created templates, but for our purposes today, we'll just add our own text. And we'll talk about it being Mr. Jensen's class. And I just picked that. I don't know if there's even a Mr. Jensen at the school. Their colors at Orion are silver, navy, and white. And so I think I need something that's more representative of their school. So here we can drag this over until we get into the blue area. And then from here we can drag this circle until we find the color we like. And against that light colored sky, I think we need something pretty dark to show up. So we'll choose something like that in Source Sans Pro, which is fine for today. But again, you've got tons and tons of possible fonts in Spark. Because Adobe is a company that uses lots of graphics, you've got tons of options. Pick something that suits you and your class, your teaching style, something that works for you. Rinse isn't too bad right there, so maybe we'll choose that one. Okay, now once we're in here, I'm going to size this up some so we can look at it. You can see it's kind of a distressed font, got some changes to it. And we can change that to be whatever size we like just by dragging this corner to make it as big or as small as we need it to be. We also have some other options that we can do with this font, which makes it kind of interesting. One of those is shape. So turning on shape right here allows us to do some things here. Like right now we're in this sort of box. If we click on this button right here called shape, we can do some other things to it to make it stand out, make it a little more interesting, put some different borders and things on it. And right now those are yellow. I kind of like that bar on top and bottom, but it doesn't have to be that way. So we can accent with maybe Orion's secondary color, which is that silver. And now we've got this cool looking logo with the teacher's name and some other things to go with it. We can also add an outline right here. And the outline you can see right now is yellow. That's fine. Maybe that's not the outline we like. Maybe white will help it to pop just a little bit better. I think it does. We can also put a shadow on that if you feel like that's something you want to add. So right now we've sort of added some different features here to make our class information sort of pop out right there. Lots of other choices too. You can actually take your text and make the text transparent so that only the logo is showing. It kind of goes through to the background. Got just tons and tons of things you could do. We could spend hours right here just on that alone. Let's add another graphic though. So coming in here to our photos, I found the Orion logo, which was supposed to be transparent, but when we add that, you'll notice that it's not. So you can see it's actually got this white background to it. So I'm going to shrink this down a little to show you a really cool feature that you can do right here. So if I select this graphic, I can remove the background from it, and Spark is not perfect with this. As you can see, it kind of did it, kind of not. So it sort of made a little mess out of it, but we can clean that up. So what we want to do here is edit our cutout, as you can see on the right-hand side. And what we want to do is restore some things that were cut. Now, one thing that's kind of cool about this is I have this brush now, which will put green over anything I restore. But my brush is humongous, and I need to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to expand this graphic to be quite large. I'm at 300% right now. And where Spark struggled was on the white areas, because the background here was also white, so it didn't really understand where our background is. Using the bracket key next to P, if I use the key right next to P on the keyboard, I can shrink my brush. I can also expand my brush. So if I want to do a huge area, I can use a larger brush, like right here, where I just need to capture that white, because it understood the blue, but it didn't get the white very well. I can also shrink the brush to get it to be down to a reasonable size where I can snag any of those areas where Spark struggled. And man, it really had a hard time here on the top, didn't it? So we'll cover a lot of that. I'm going to take my brush down to a quite small size so that I don't pick up any of the white background right there. And we'll just continue for just a second here to do some cutting, restoring the graphic to the shape we want. So it picks up those blue lines right here, and we can snag what we want. That'll take just a second, as you can see, and we'll pick up that area right there. So it's looking relatively good. I do have this lightning bolt right here that's really having a hard time, and I'll use my smaller brush. Whoop, undo, Control Z. My mouse is a little spastic here on my computer. So we'll cover this area right there, make sure we've gotten what we think we need. Oh, went over a little bit again. Make that fatter brush so I only need one click to cover all of it. So it did a reasonably good job. We didn't have a ton of cleanup to do, but we did have some. You can see I haven't covered every feature of my design right there, but I've got most of it, so it's looking reasonably good. I need to cover these down here, get these lightning bolts taken care of so that I have that section so that it looks like it belongs. That's looking good. Cover this area right here, and I'm just clicking my mouse as I go to get that area that Spark had a hard time with. Okay, now from here, it looks like it's in pretty good condition. I do have a couple of little areas here that just didn't quite get done. Try to catch them. I think it's because this area right here is quite narrow, and so it struggled to pick that up. It's looking pretty good. If I click the check mark right here, you can see that I was able to fairly well cut out that. I need to go back and work a little bit. I can still do that by clicking Edit Cutout and then clicking Restore. And it looks like I really need to make this thing huge so that I can see where I'm missing on this logo right there. Yep, you can see it right here. It doesn't show when you've got the logo at that smaller size. I'm not going to take all day to do this, obviously, because you have other things you need to get to, I'm sure. And you don't obviously want to sit here and watch me cut this out for another hour, but it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to say done right there. And when I shrink the graphic to a normal size, get it back to 100, it doesn't look too bad. And I can take this graphic now and place it here in the corner. And down here in the bottom, you can see also that I have my order. And right now, the background is at the back with Mr. Jensen's logo right here, and then the school logo at the top, and I can drag that around a little bit to change it. So what I mean by that is if I click on this thing, I can actually put this behind the background where it doesn't show if I choose, or I can drag it to the front or behind Mr. Jensen's name right there. And so now I've got a logo that's in pretty good working order and not looking too bad. I'll get it to 100% here so we can see it. So now I've created my logo. I'm ready to download. I'll hit the download right here, and I want to choose PNG. Interestingly, it asks me if I want a transparent background. If I do that, it's going to try to clean out some of these colors, and it will leave me with a really ugly looking header. So I'm going to choose solid, and then that will be saved, and I'll be able to put it in my Canvas course. So that's a quick and dirty look at creating a header for Canvas using Adobe Spark. Lots of power, amazing things you can do, so don't be afraid to get in and play around with things a little bit to make your Canvas course look uniquely yours. Meanwhile, have a great day.